Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Magic Fanatic. If this is your first time visiting, we thank you for the support and checking out this video. Today's video is a POV of Kilimanjaro Safari, located in Disney's Animal Kingdom in Florida. Do you like Pumbaa? Or Dumbo? Maybe Rafiki? Or I know you like Simba. Well, we'll see all of them during this peaceful and amazing safari. Climb aboard, hold on tight. We are about to experience a safari ride through the lush African savanna to search for lions, giraffes, elephants, and more. And remember, please do not feed the animals any churros.
That's your animal spot. Hey, quick show of hands. Is anyone's first time on the reserve? Anyone? Oh, great. Me too. That's awesome. Just kidding. Actually, got a couple of safety rules before we get out there. Just make sure we are staying seated with those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck at all times. Follow those rules. We're going to have a great time out there. Now, for the best possible animal viewing experience, I also highly recommend we try to stay as quiet as possible. If we're yelling really loud, the animals aren't going to come close to us. But if we're nice and quiet, they'll get pretty close to the truck. Now, we'll be starting our adventure today in the little Ituri Forest, where a lot of the animals out here are pretty shy animals. A lot of hiding spots out here, so keep an eye on the bushes. These animals can pop out at any time. Our first animal today is over here off to the right. This is the okapi. Now, a lot of stripes on their back legs. However, their closest living relative is not a zebra. Does anyone know what it is? It's a giraffe. They're the only living relative of the giraffe. We know that because the okapi and the giraffe have a very hard to find. They weren't fully discovered until the early 1900s. Until then, they were thought to have been a mythical creature. Nope, here on the hill is going to be a bird. This is a saddle-billed stork, which stands about 4 to 5 feet tall. They get the name saddle-billed because of the yellow part on their bill that kind of looks like a saddle you put on a horse. You can also tell apart males and females based on their eye color. Males have brown eyes and females have yellow eyes. And also coming up off to the left is going to be a very muddy black rhino, the smaller of the two rhino species on the reserve, weighing upwards of about 3,000 pounds. Black rhinos are mostly solitary animals, and they can get pretty territorial with each other. So how do we tell apart the black rhino from the other species of rhino found here in Africa and on this reserve, the white rhino? It's by looking at their lips. The black rhino is also known as the hook-lipped rhino because of their pointed prehensile upper lip to grab the vegetation they eat, while white rhinos have very wide lips used for grazing on grass. If you see me a bit later, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, there's 5 species of rhinos found around the world. Only 2 of them are here in Africa. Unfortunately, all of them are poached for their horns. Some people think there's medicinal value to those horns, but studies have shown there is none. It's actually made of keratin. Keratin is found in your fingernails and hair. It's only just compact hair that makes up a rhino's horn. So friends, we're going to start making our way out of the Ituri Forest. We're going to start heading down towards the Savannah River. Whereas the day is warming up, animals do come down to the water for a drink or to cool off. Now going around this corner, if you look out there, you're going to see some pelicans out there. Those are the pink-backed pelicans. They're one of the 8 species of pelicans found around the world. Now they get the name pink-back because the skin on their back does turn pink to attract a mate. They have a wingspan of up to 9 feet in length, which is that canopy above you from side to side. They can sustain flight for almost 24 hours straight, covering almost 300 miles. I don't know much about the other birds off to the right because those are Florida birds and we're in Africa right now. I don't know how they got here. But off to the left is the common, also known as the Nile hippopotamus, weighing upwards of about 4,000 pounds. Now the word hippopotamus in Greek means river horse. They're almost purely made of muscle, so they're going to sink straight to the bottom, but they trot along the bottom of the water, holding their breath for about 5 to 8 minutes at a time. On land, a hippo can run at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. They'll spend most of their day down in the water, usually coming out around nighttime to do a lot of their grazing. They can eat up to about 90 pounds of vegetation one night. Hippos also have a very powerful bite force, being able to extend their jaws almost 180 degrees. Now they can get territorial and aggressive even towards humans, so you gotta play by their rules. Their rules are simple. Just stay away from their water and their babies, and they're gonna stay away from you. Now, does anyone know what the closest living relative of the hippo is? Nobody's ever got this right, by the way. It's the whale. Now this next animal coming up has an even stronger bite than a hippo, with a jaw pressure of almost 3,000 pounds per square inch. It's a Nile crocodile, which averages a length of 16 feet and an average weight of 500 pounds. Now, crocodiles are what we call ectothermic. You might also know it as cold-blooded. Basically, that means they have to use their environment to regulate their body temperature. So the crocodile you see sitting on the bank with their mouth open, probably just trying to push all the hot air out of their bodies to cool them off. They don't sweat like we do. On the flip side, if the crocodile's too cold, they're going to sit with their back towards the sun to heat up. Crocodiles are also pretty amazing parents. Moms will stay with the nest until her babies hatch. She'll actually help out with that hatching process by rolling the eggs around and carrying her babies in her mouth to the safety of the water. The temperature inside a crocodile's nest will actually determine if those babies are going to be males or females. Only maybe 1 or 2 out of a group of about 60 eggs will actually make it to adulthood. And the crocodile is a master of stealth and camouflage. It can move through knee-deep water undetected without making a single ripple on the surface of the water. And if a crocodile really wanted to, they can propel themselves through the water about as fast as a dolphin can swim. Now, I could talk about these crocodiles all day, but we still have a lot of animals to see. We are now arriving at our Savannah overlook. Now, as we make our way down the hill, see if you can spot any of your favorite Savannah-dwelling species out there. Savannas exist in the tropical regions of the world, not dry enough to be a desert, but also not wet enough to be a rainforest. There'll be these grasslands where lots of your herd animals are going to live, as well as the predators that prey on them. And you might find some of the fastest land animals in the world out here on the savannas of Africa. Like coming up over here off to the right, so this right here is going to be the Maasai giraffe. Now I can tell these are Maasai giraffe because of that rigid structure in their coat. That pattern in their coat is unique to each animal. It's kind of like your thumbprint. Now I'm going to wait to talk about giraffe. There's other animals I want to point out first. Look over your right shoulder. So this is a pretty small group, so you can average groups about 7 to 15, with some groups getting up to be about 40. Now everyone kind of takes care of each other. They take care of the sick and the young. They also take care of the old as well. Now, way over your left shoulder, we kind of just passed, and there's some animals with massive horns back there. Those were Ankoli cattle, also called the Watusi cattle, because of the tribe that domesticated them. This antelope right here off to the left with those long horns, those are sable antelope, one of the few antelope species that will stand their ground whenever there are predators nearby. Using their horns as self-defense, that brown fur will typically darken with age. That was a group of females back there. Females live together in a herd, usually in the territory of a solitary male. We're also coming up, so there are 3 species of zebra, or zebra. There's the plains, there's the grevies. There's also this last one right here, which is the mountain zebra, the most agile and best climbers of all the zebras. Now I can tell these are mountain zebras. You see that little flap of skin on their neck? It's called a dewlap. It helps to regulate their body temperature. This is the only zebra species that has it. A group of zebras called a dazzle, and just like with the giraffe, that pattern in their coat is unique to each animal. Now they have several uses for this pattern in their coat. One of those is to recognize each other. Another one's actually to help prevent flies from landing on them. Researchers have found that whenever a fly sees zebra pattern, it freaks them out and it forces them to try to land somewhere else. Now let's go back to the giraffe. So a group of giraffe is called a tower, and they can spend up to 20 hours a day eating, using their long prehensile tongues to grab the leaves and then pull it towards their mouth. If you see a giraffe's tongue, you're going to notice it's kind of a purplish coloration, coated in saliva to help prevent it from getting sunburn. Now, if they spend up to 20 hours a day eating, they're only sleeping about 30 minutes a day. That's usually not all at once, usually in 30-second to 5-minute increments. Giraffes can sleep laying down. They can also sleep standing up. Now, those things you saw sticking out of the giraffe's head, those were not horns. They're called ossicones. Ossicones are just part of their skull. Both males and females in giraffe have them, but in the okapi we saw at the beginning of our safari, only males have ossicones. Now coming up, this is a common eland right here. This is the largest antelope on the reserve, which stands around 6 feet tall from hoof to shoulder. The one with the lighter brown coat is a female. She's also going to be much smaller than the male, who's got this grayer coloration to his coat. From a standing, it's a mandrill. That's the largest of the monkeys. That's a male. Males weigh about 80 pounds. Females weigh about 30 pounds. Another way to tell apart males and females is going to be the coloration. Much more brighter and bolder in males like this one than in the females. Now, probably my favorite fact about mandrills, they have pouches in their cheeks where they store snacks for later. But if an elephant is flapping their ears, they're probably just trying to cool themselves off, kind of like using a really large fan. There's large blood vessels in those ears, so as those ears flap, it cools down their blood and their body temperature. to this corn. We don't know how to use their trunk just yet, so to protect that baby, the family group will gather around throwing mud on their backs, basically a little baby shower. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the animals we've seen so far today are losing their habitat due to human encroachment. It's about going towards farming and mining. So that mining is for a substance called coltan, which is found in a lot of your electronics, like your cell phone batteries and laptop batteries. So by recycling those, we can help protect habitat for a lot of these animals, especially the ones we saw earlier in the Ituri Forest, like the okapi. Now, elephants are also affected by habitat loss. Because of their habitat loss, lots of elephants are going to places where they're not supposed to go to get food, like people's farms. The farmers don't like that. They've been trying to figure out a way how to coexist with these animals, so they reached out to us for help. We found an interesting solution that elephants are afraid of bees. African bees are very aggressive animals, and elephants have very sensitive skin, so they don't get stung. They also don't like that buzzing sound. So what we did is we lined these farms in Africa with beehives, so whenever the elephants got too close, the bees chased them away. Not only does that protect the farmers' crops and the elephants, protects the elephants from the farmers can also make a profit off the honey found in the beehives, and it helps out bee populations. One of the many projects the Disney Conservation Fund is involved in. Now, elephants live in what's called a matriarch society. That means that the females are in charge. Top female, matriarch, she's usually the oldest in the herd, leading them to grazing grounds and watering holes, maybe even some of the same ones she's been visiting since she was a baby. While the second in command female, who's also usually the second oldest, she's in the back of the herd keeping everybody together. And for the most part, male elephants are solitary, or they'll form bachelor groups, but only briefly rejoin a herd when it's time to mate. Check it out, friends. There's a little 2.5-month-old baby elephant right here. Sit down back there. Sit down, sit down. 2-month-old baby elephant off to the left. This is our family group of females right here. Now, besides habitat loss, unfortunately, one of the greatest things affecting elephants is also poaching. They're poached for the ivory in their tusks, and at the rate they're getting poached, they could disappear in the wild in the next few decades. Some researchers out in the wild have even been noticing whenever they got close to certain groups of elephants, the elephants would try to hide their tusks from them because the elephants have started to figure out that's why they're being poached, is for those tusks. Now, at the very end of their trunk, they have these two almost finger-like appendages that they use to kind of grab with food. In African elephants, they have two, but in Asian elephants, it's just one on their trunk. Now, coming up over here off to the left, you're going to see the greater flamingo, which is the tallest of the 6 flamingo species in the world, standing almost 5 feet tall. They're also most light pink of all flamingos, but when they are born, they're not born that pink color. They're born a grayer coloration, and it takes about a year or two after they're born for them to fully turn pink. So how do they do it? It's actually from the beta carotene found in their diet, which is mostly brine, shrimp, and algae. And another name for a flock of flamingos is called a flamboyant. They can sometimes gather in a flock or flamboyants up to about 1 billion flamingos. Now, off to the left, you'll see some, check it out. There's some ostriches. This is the world's largest bird right here. These are actually females. Females have this dusty coloration, where it's the males that have the black and white that you're more familiar with. They stand around 8 to 9 feet tall, weighing almost 300 pounds. We all know that ostriches are flightless, but they still have wings, which they're going to use for aerodynamics as they quickly run at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour. Very powerful animals that kick strong enough to even break the bones of a lion. A certain Disney movie might tell you that the lion sleeps tonight. They actually rest anywhere between 16 up to 20 hours a day, usually coming out around nighttime to do a lot of their hunting. Reason for that is because at nighttime their eyesight is 6 times greater than it is during the day. During the day, it's very similar to ours. Now, it's female lions who do all the hunting, while the male lion, he's going to sit back to protect the cubs. At its loudest, a lion's roar can be heard up to 5 miles away. Now, the darker the mane of a male lion, older it is, most likely the dominant one in the pride. Now, besides Africa, does anyone else know where lions are found? They're also going to be found in Asia. There's the Asiatic lion. Females look pretty similar to each other, but it's the males where it's different. It's the mane of the Asiatic lion. It looks a lot different than the African lions. Now, coming up off to the left, we're going to see some warthogs over here. Now, the warthog's closest living relative is the pig. And they may not look fast, but can actually run at speeds of about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Now the word Pumbaa in Swahili does not mean warthog, it actually means foolish one, but the warthog is a very intelligent animal. Now here's those white rhinos. See their ears tilting around their head? You also see those wide lips I was telling you about. So there's two subspecies of the white rhino. There's the southern white rhino, which is the one that we're seeing today. But then there's also the northern white rhino. Now the northern white rhino has a pretty sad story. Some of y'all might have remembered this about 6 years ago when they made headlines around the world when the last male northern white rhino passed away. They're now functionally extinct. There's only 2 females left in the entire world. Now ahead of us, up on top of that building in that truck, you're going to see some Nigerian goats, which only stand around 2 feet tall, fully grown. Now they're very playful animals. Through that playfulness, they establish dominance in the group. Also very skilled climbers with a 4-chambered stomach, so they really like to eat a lot of food throughout the day. Now, today is World Wildlife Day, and unfortunately our safari is starting to come to an end right now, and it does sadden me to tell you that most of the animals you saw today on the reserve are endangered, and it's estimated that 65% of endangered animals could be gone in the next 100 years. Now the word Harambe in Swahili means to come together, and here at the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, we believe that if we can all come together to help protect these animals, they'll have a future, and future generations can experience them. So how can we help? Well, we can all start by doing something simple, like recycling your plastics, bottles, papers, even your cell phone batteries and laptop batteries. Like I mentioned earlier, you can take it to places like Best Buy or sometimes even our local zoo to get them recycled for that coltan in them so you can help protect habitat. Another great way to get involved is through donating. Since 1995, Disney Conservation Fund has raised over $125 million to help animals around the world. It doesn't matter how big or how small a donation, Disney will match dollar for dollar when you donate.
Welcome back. What an awesome trip to Africa that was. Thank you for your support. If you did like the video, we would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. We have new videos being posted every 2 to 3 days, so be sure to check back. We just posted a video of a night race on Tomorrowland Speedway from the Magic Kingdom, and also Expedition Everest roller coaster ride from Disney's Animal Kingdom. Have a great day, and we will see you real soon.